It's a mindset. Trust me with that. You can be mad about everything. You can be mad about anything. You can always find things to be mad about. And you know this, when you're looking for bad things, you'll always find them.
Absolutely.
If you're looking for bad in a person, you'll always find it.
Right. When you focus on things you don't have, you'll never have enough. When you focus on things you have, you'll always have enough.
He learned how to be grateful, and the prize he got at the end was pretty good. All right.
All right, I'm Chazz Palminteri,
The Wise, and I'm Michael Franzese.
the wise guy.
How are you, Chazz?
I'm great. No, I'm great. I'm having a ball doing this, man.
You're looking good today.
I feel good today. Things all right with you?
Everything's good. No complaints.
So should we start off with a book?
We should. But, this is an interesting book. It's called The Ultimate Gift by Jim Stovall. But before we get into that, talking about ultimate gifts, you told me something off camera that blew my mind, and you got to tell our listeners.
We were talking about Beethoven. We were talking about, the two great reasons, the most important days of your life is the day you're born and the day you find out, you realize why. Mm-hmm. And we're talking about people with great gifts. And I said, Beethoven was, when he wrote the 8th and especially the 9th symphony, he was completely deaf.
Did you catch that? We're talking about Beethoven. He wrote a symphony and he was completely deaf.
Completely deaf. And I said to Michael, I said, do you know how he did it? And he said, no. And I said, well, he took the bar off the piano and had a pencil in his mouth, and he put the pencil on the bar where you press the note, it hits. And the note would go through the bar into the pencil into his ear. And that's how he wrote it. So it's pretty phenomenal.
It blew my mind. Now keep in mind, he didn't write a line, a sentence, a paragraph. He wrote an entire symphony. One of the greatest of all time.
Right. That's Beethoven's the 8th and 9th. So
and I thought I was blown away always by Stevie Wonder. How a blind person could be so brilliant. And then he tells me about Beethoven. It's some people have, it's amazing when something in life is taken away. You're gifted in another area. And you make the most of it.
And you make the most of it. If you're smart.
Yes.
If you're smart. If you take away the suffering. I'm very dyslexic. And when I was in school, when I was back in, obviously, the 50s and 60s, I was considered dumb. They just thought I was kind of like behind. And I couldn't learn. I couldn't learn a lot because I was just so dyslexic. Nothing made sense to me. And the only time I realized I was dyslexic when they tested my son. Because my son was just extremely bright, but we noticed when he started school, his grades were like, okay. And we were wondering what was going on here. So we had him tested, and he was severely dyslexic. Mm. And then when I found out why he was, I realized, I said, wait a minute, hey, Doc, I had that. And he goes, you had exactly this? I go, yeah. He goes, you were dyslexic.
Wow.
I realized I was dyslexic when I was much older. But I just adapted, and I try to work through it and try to memorize things. And that's why I think I can remember so much, because I read a lot, and it was hard for me. So I try to remember what I was reading. But when God takes away one thing, he gives you another thing. And if there's a wonderful book, and we should talk about it on another show, it's called The Dyslexic Advantage. I am dyslexic. My son is too, but my son is a great songwriter and great poet and a great actor. And I can't talk about myself, but I was, I'm a pretty good actor. And as a writer, I could see the movie before I write it in my head. So God takes away one thing and he gives you another thing. So I never looked at it as a disadvantage. I look at it as an advantage.
It's amazing, Chazz, just, briefly to get into it, things, dyslexia, autism, way back when, nobody diagnosed it. We didn't even know what it was back in our day.
Asperger's,
Asperger's, we didn't know.
Nobody knew that.
But today, I have a 7-year-old grandson who's autistic, but he's brilliant. My daughter, praise her and praise God. She gives him all the best therapy. He's in class. He's, so he's got all the advantages that somebody can have.
Thank God.
But to see the level of intelligence he has, it's unbelievable. So you're right. When one gift is taken away, one thing becomes a handicap, another gift comes in its place. Well, you have to take advantage of it.
Have to take advantage of it. But that's the key. Take advantage of it.
Right. Which brings us to today's book, which I think is fascinating. It's called The Ultimate Gift by Jim Stovall. I'm going to read for a minute what it's about. It's about a young man named Jason Stevens who inherits a huge sum of money from his late grandfather. However, in order to receive the money, Jason must complete a series of 12 tasks or gifts that teach him important lessons about life and how to live it with purpose and meaning. Each gift teaches him something essential, such as the importance of hard work, the value of friendship, the power of giving. Through the challenges and teachings, Jason learns that what it truly means to be successful and happy in life. Yeah, so his uncle left him out of the inheritance initially, left him out, and says, you got to pass these 12 lessons or tests,
This
which
is a
he
true story.
considered gifts. True story.
True story.
True story. And so we took a couple of them, and I know we're going to be able to relate to these. And these are 5 lessons learned from the ultimate gift. 1, gratitude. The main character realizes the value of being grateful for the little things in life. He learns to appreciate everyday moments and to be thankful for the things that he has.
I mean, that's like, and I always talk about Rudolf Steiner and I talk about Dr. Phil Stutz, and I learned that after 30 years of studying with him. It's called being in the grateful flow. And I do this thing, and I try to teach some of my students and people I speak to when I speak at these colleges. And I said, if you wake up in the morning, before you get up, just close your eyes. You can write it down or you can just do it in your head. Think of 5 things that you're grateful for. And I'm talking about, they could be simple things. But each day, think of 5 things. And you don't have to repeat it. You can think of simple things like, I love this bed. It's so comfortable. I'm grateful for I'm going to have a great breakfast today. And if you do that every morning or every night or during the day, whenever you have time, what it does do, it puts you in the mindset and it elevates your serotonins, the dopamine. It just makes you feel, whew, life's good. I'm grateful. So it's a simple thing like that. Find the things you're grateful for. Most people live their life not being grateful, Michael. And how do you become grateful? By hardship, by suffering. Let's face it, after you got out of the joint, you were grateful for a nice meal. A nice warm meal. I was grateful for when I was broke and I lived on a can of tuna fish. And I remember one time I had a can of tuna fish and I couldn't cash my unemployment check. So I put the whole can in and I was ready to mix it with the mayonnaise. And I went, shit, I won't have nothing tomorrow if I do this. So I cut it and I put half a can back and I ate half a can and I was happy. I don't know how I was happy because I was doing what I love to do. And I said, I'll be all right. I'm going to be okay. And God willing, it ended up being okay. But it's to find the things to be grateful for, you know?
Well, you said it. Being grateful is a mindset. How I really learned that, Chazz, being in the hole again. I'm sorry, but, so many experiences came out of that struggle that I had. I'm reading the Bible, and the Bible tells you be grateful in all circumstances, even when you're suffering or when things are bad. Be grateful. Because as Christians, we know what the ultimate prize is. But it really taught me, I would think back and I'd say, well, I'm alive, not dead. I didn't get 100 years. I'll be in here but at least I have a release date. I know I'm coming home. My wife's still there. I still have my kids. And I tried to feed myself with the things that I knew I had rather than the things that I didn't have. When I got out of prison, it sunk in even more, I should say, because I said, look, I got a life ahead of me now. So many of my friends are either dead or in prison for the rest of their life. So coming through that life, every day is a gift. And I really look at things that way. I'm not saying I don't get mad sometimes
of course
or get
you
angry,
do.
Things like that. But it's never woe is me. Why did this happen to me? I'm pretty grateful. So, be grateful for the things that you have. It's a mindset. Trust me with that. You can be mad about everything. You can be mad about anything. You can always find things to be mad about. And you know this, when you're looking for bad things, you'll always find them.
Absolutely.
If you're looking for bad in a person, you'll always find it.
Right. When you focus on things you don't have, you'll never have enough. When you focus on things you have, you'll always have enough.
He learned how to be grateful, and the prize he got at the end was pretty good. All right. Number 2, hard work. The book emphasizes the importance of hard work leading to success. The main character works hard to achieve these goals and is rewarded later on for his efforts. Does anything replace hard work?
Nothing replaces hard work. Nothing. I mean, so many times where I think of how long it took me to work. I mean, look, I struggled, but like any other actor, we all struggle. You want to be in the arts, you starve. You want to have a new business, you starve. That's the way it is. You're starting a new business. You have to starve. And when you starve, and when you work hard, and when you look at Hewlett Packard, and when you look at Steve Jobs, and when you look at Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, They all say the same thing. They started from a little garage in their house, and they expanded, expanded. And you could bet your life that they always think of those days. I always think of those days. And I think of where my first apartment, my little dumpy apartment where I lived in New York and LA. And I look at my life now, and I'm so grateful that I worked and I got it. And I look in the mirror, Michael, and I say, I did it. I did it. Now, please, let me clarify that. Nobody does it without help. Everybody gets help. But whatever help I got, I initiated to get that help. I worked hard to get it, and people liked me enough to give it to me. So it makes me feel good of where I came from and what I achieve now. It's very simple. When you give someone everything that doesn't deserve it, they blow it. Why? Because they don't realize how hard it was.
Taken for granted.
They take it for granted.
I love the saying, it's amazing how lucky you are when you work hard. And people look at me now and say, Michael, you're doing so good, and you got everything going for you, and you got all this YouTube followers. And I said, yeah, it took me a lifetime to become an overnight success. I worked hard my entire life. I'm still working hard.
You're still working hard. Look, when you give somebody everything, and it's hard for us.
Yes.
It's very hard for us. My father and mother, we both grew up. They didn't want to spoil us. When you give a child everything, they end up with nothing. Sometimes our kids spoil a little bit. Absolutely. They have to be, just from being in the part of a family was successful. But when I grew up and you grew up and you learned from that hard work, oh my God. Sometimes my son and my daughter, I say, no, we can't afford that. No. And my father, and then my son, they're real slick, the kids now. They're smart. My son goes, oh, gee, Dad, I thought we had money. We can't afford that. I go, yeah, that's right. You're trying to make me feel bad? You think that you're trying to pull that shit on me? No. Yeah. Can we afford it? Yeah, maybe. But you know what? I'm not buying it. It's too expensive. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I taught my son the value of $1. I said, you want this? You got to get great grades. You want a new car? Get into a great college, do really great. I'll buy you a new car. And both of them did, and I bought them both new cars.
And the thing is, if we don't take that attitude, we're hurting them. We're setting them up for failure.
You're hurting
in their life.
No question. Look, again, we don't talk politics on the show, but you look at the generation now, and you look at them, and a lot of these kids are spoiled. A lot of these kids are triggered. This whole thing now, I'm being triggered. Triggered? When we grew up...
Can you imagine telling that to your father?
You want to talk about I'm being triggered. You had a big nose. They call you Larry the Nose. You had acne. They call you Coffee Cake. Yeah. If you were fat, they call you Joey the Whale. Yeah. I mean, this is the way it is. But you know what that did? It hardened us. It made us tough. And when we grew up, you can't insult me. You can't bother me. What are you going to call me? That my friends already did.
And today what happens? These kids get insulted on social media, and I don't say this as a joke, but emotionally they lose it.
They can't
get into depression and everything else. Can you imagine that? My parents sometimes call me every name in the book and punish me and everything else,
yes.
But it made us stronger.
It makes you stronger. But when you give all these kids everything, it's over. Yeah. They have to find a safe spot. Do you imagine back then when we were growing up, Dad, I need to find a safe space. And I know it's social media. It's a wonderful thing, but it's also a curse. We're guilty of it, but you know what? You want to call us guilty of using social media, but we use it to try to do good.
Exactly. It's a good tool if you use it the right way. But our young kids today are struggling and suffering because it's being used for the wrong purpose. And it's very sad. And I don't think these kids are built today to withstand some of the, call it abuse or criticism or whatever that they get online. And anyway, I don't want to get off topic. But don't spoil your kids. Make them work for it. Number 3, kindness. The book demonstrates the power of kindness and how it can make a huge impact on people's lives. Through the act of kindness, the main character learns the value of serving others and giving back to those in need.
I mean, what do we talk about? That's what we're doing here, serving others. Yeah. Giving back. Why is it that so many people want to give back if they become famous or wealthy? Maybe some of it do it. Maybe, look, to be fair, I like to be honest. Maybe some of them do it for their own self-ego. Maybe some people do it to really give back. But you know what? I don't care. Even the people that do it for their own ego, as long as they're doing it, I'm okay with it.
I don't know about you, but the thing that I've been doing for the past 25 years, and I know you do the same in your industry, there's just a great feeling when people benefit by what you have to offer them. It is really better to give than it is to
Oh,
receive.
yes.
Because look, I know really in life you don't need anything. And people ask Michael, what could I buy you for Christmas? Buy me socks, buy me
Yeah,
whatever.
I
don't
always
need
say that.
anything.
Buy me underwear if you
Yeah,
want to buy me something.
we don't need anything. But when we give to somebody,
Yes.
it's just a great feeling when you know you've helped somebody out. And
Yeah.
I know you get a lot of messages on social media. I do. That, hey, some of the things you said or some of the examples you showed was really helpful. It feels so good.
And I always walk around with a card. The saddest thing in life is a waste of talent. And when I meet a kid on the street, he'll go, "Oh, Mr. Palminteri, I'm sorry to bother you, but I'm a big fan." I said, "Oh, okay, thank you." He goes, "Can I ask you a question?" I said, "Yeah, sure. What's up?" He goes, "Well, I'm an actor, and I'm just starting out. I'm only doing it 6 months, but I really have this desire, and I want to do it. And could you give me any advice?" And I say, "Yeah, do two things: be really good at what you do, and be well liked, and you have a good shot to make it." And I said, "I'll tell you what." I take out a card, and I go, "This is a card. Don't waste your talent. What's your name, Johnny?" I get my pen out. I go, "To Johnny, Chazz Palminteri, here." And he goes, "Oh man, thanks a lot." I go, "No problem." And I've been doing this for 30 years. Always, once in a while, I'll get somebody walk over to me, say, "Hey, how are you, Chazz? How you doing?" I go, "Hey, how you doing?" He goes, 7 years ago, you gave me this card." And he still got the card. And I go, "I don't remember. I don't know who he is. I don't remember." He goes, "I'm on a soap now, and I'm starring in this thing. But you gave me the motivation to go on." And I go, "That's cool, man. I want to thank you." And I go, "All right." We hug, and I say goodbye. But you know what that's like?
It's great, and for some of you people out there that maybe if you feel you don't have enough in life, or, maybe you don't have what we have or what others have or what your neighbors have. And so how could I give if I don't really have anything?
Right.
When you give of yourself and you see people appreciate it, it could be a word, could be a card that says, don't, the
Yeah.
terrible thing is wasted talent, could be a couple of words of wisdom, could be anything. When you see the gratitude in those people, trust me, whether you're the have or the have not, you're going to appreciate it very much.
It's funny you said that. There are people out there who sometimes you don't have much. They go, "How could I help other people?" But he said it. The man said it in just be kind.
Be kind.
Be
So
kind.
important. Okay, number 4, family. The book emphasizes the importance of family and the impact family has on our lives. The main character learns the value of spending time with family and cherishing the relationships that he has. People, I want to tell you something before, Chazz shares his words of wisdom. I believe with all my heart, based upon my experience, 8 years in prison, visiting prisons, speaking with gangbangers, talking to youth, that some of the breakdown in the United States, or the problems we have in the United States, I should say, is totally attributed to the breakdown in the family. That's it. People don't grow up in a family atmosphere and don't understand the value of family. It's a breakdown in society, and we're experiencing that.
Family to me, think about it. Family to me is the most important thing. Without my wife and my children, what do I have?
Exactly.
What do I have? What? I have money, I have fame. What is that? What does that mean when you're older and you have the love of your family and your grandkids? And here's how I put it. This is the difference between the difference in the inner world and the outer world, and what this man is saying. As you're getting older, and it's like picture emotional energy from your family is like money. So your bank account is. So as you're getting this emotional energy from your family, you're putting it all in the bank and you're saving it. The more emotional stuff your family's giving you, you put that in the emotional bank. Mm-hmm. And as you get older and you live a good life, you have a great wife, you have family, you have grandkids. And when the time comes for you to meet your maker, you look at your bank and it's full of all this riches. And you go, wow, it's okay, man. I'm ready to go. Now, take the other person who doesn't serve, who only cares about the outside world, fame, money. His emotional stuff comes in. What does he do each week? He spends it. All that money comes in, spends it each week. All this emotional money, fame, adulation, hero, spends it each week. At the end of his lifetime, he looks at the emotional bank account. He's got nothing. Nothing. Who's going to cry at your wake? Who?
Those that don't realize the value of family don't have a family to value.
Or
Once you
had
do,
one and lost one.
or had one and lost one, maybe by their own, actions or misdeeds. Who knows? But I used to think of some. Tell me what you think of this. There is an expression: "Blood is thicker than water," and I found that not always to be true.
Right.
I've seen some real bad issues in a family. So you can have family with friends that you've really bonded with.
Yes.
A community that you've really bonded with.
Yes.
But if you don't have that emotional feeling towards people in general, especially towards your family, because there is something, your own
Right.
blood, you're missing out on so much in life. Loners are missing out on so much in life. People that detach themselves or never had anybody to share their feelings, their emotions, their love, their problems, they're really missing out.
And there are people, I met them, and I'm sure you have too, who are like that. And I
Yes.
say, don't you miss having a family? And they go, no, I really don't. And I say to myself, are they lying to me or they're lying to themselves? But either way, at the end of their life, it's going to be emotionally bankrupt.
And when you dig a little deeper and look at their lives, you're going to see the breakdown in their lives.
The
There's no
breakdown is
question.
right.
No question.
Family is everything. So, I mean, that's a great book, Michael. That's a great book.
It really is. We're going to go through one more quickly, and this is love. The book demonstrates the power of love and how it can transform lives. The main character learns the value of love and how it can help him overcome obstacles and live life to its fulfillment.
Basically, it's the same as what we're saying about family. Yeah. The love of your family, or it doesn't have to be family. Some people don't have a family, but they have a brother. They have a friend, a wife, a loved one, that they can have that same bond. But love, look, it comes down to, and we'll talk about Machiavelli on another episode. Love or fear. Fear is short term. Love is long term.
And if you notice, people that are loving have a certain peace about them.
Yes.
Because it comes from the heart.
It comes from the heart.
And when you have love in your heart, you're just, it's a different contentment in life.
Yes.
That no matter what happens to you, there's just something there that you feel and that others
Right.
feel from you.
And before we end, and you and I both know about this, there are people you meet. Everyone, you're with close to the same age. So for all these years that we've been alive on this earth, when for everyone, whether you're 20 or 30 or 40, 60 or 70, you have an aura about you, and that aura grows. The older you get, the aura gets bigger and bigger. So that's why, you ever notice when you meet someone, you go, oof, what's the matter? I don't know.
Something about it.
I just don't like this person. And you go, Jesus, God, why he didn't even say anything.
Yeah.
Or she didn't say anything. You go,
You can sense it.
I don't know. And that's a street thing.
Yeah.
Between us. It's a street thing. Am I saying that other people can't feel it? I'm sure they do. But the street thing is different because that gets right to the root. And you find out later that they don't have any love in their life or something is wrong. So when you meet someone, now, let me be fair to this. Is the first impression usually right? Usually I am. Have I been wrong a couple of times? Yeah, I have.
As have I.
I have. I said, I don't like this person. Then when I got to know them, I understood why I didn't like them when I first met them. But I understood them now, and it was different. To me, like you said, love helps you build the aura that you can live with. And I hope you learned something from this because I have a ball with you, Michael. It's great. So, Michael, I just want to say that I love doing our podcast. I have a ball with it. If you like it too, please hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. It helps us find more content and do so many things. So I hope you like what we're giving here because we just have fun doing it. And we like to serve, just like we're talking about. And hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. And don't let me come looking for you. Okay?
Yes, it'll be Chazz, not me.
Right, it'll be.
But and listen, give us a comment if you want the book, and understand something. We don't get anything for promoting these books. We just think they're books that we can share some wisdom and you can learn from and you can enjoy. This is a great book, The Ultimate Gift. I think you can. There's a link here to get it. And if you have any comments, any messages, any suggestions, anything you want us to talk about, anything you want us maybe to help you about, put it in a comment. We do get to them. If we don't, our team does, and we'll try to acknowledge, whatever ones we can. So with that,
I'm Chazz Palminteri.
The Wise, and I'm Michael Franzese.
The Wise Guy.
See you next time.